Hello, everyone. My name is Samuel Nimako-Mensah, and I welcome you to another inspiring episode of The Leader's Room. Today, I have the pleasure of sitting down with Juliana Mends, who is a third party risk analyst at Jackson Lewis PC. Juliana's journey from Accra, Ghana is one of inspiration from coming from Ghana to become a leader in the IT field and also impacting work in her church and local organizations with young adults. I'd like to welcome you, Juliana, to the show.
Hi, Samuel. Thank you for inviting me. I am honored to be here.
Awesome. So let's start off, Juliana, digging a little bit into your background so folks can kind of get to know you a little. So tell us about your journey from Accra, Ghana to the United States and how did you end up in the IT field?
Okay. Well, journey from Accra to the U.S. is very short because I came to the U.S. when I was 9 years old. My parents had migrated here, so naturally they found a way to migrate me here to the U.S. So I spent a lot of my formidable years in the USA. I do visit Ghana often, but yes, I grew up in the U.S. Um, and my journey to where I am in my career. So, like most African parents, they definitely emphasize a medical background. Go into medicine. My dad is a nurse, so naturally he wanted me to go into medicine. But the type of person that I am, medicine was just never going to be my calling. And so I I wanted to do something in business. Didn't necessarily know what specifically I wanted to do in business, but I just knew business. So I went into Syracuse University and there were multiple programs and I ended up in the information technology program and didn't know too much about it. And I think that's because we have computer science, information tech, very similar, but they also have their differences. So I'm not a technical person, so initially I was nervous about it because I'm like, in this program, what does it look like? But going through the program and actually interning. So I interned with JP Morgan Chase my junior or senior year in college. I was open to a world of different career fields within IT. So I just learned how vast that field was. And I started with third party risk. So that's how I got into my third party risk management background. And yeah, after I graduated, I was hired directly by Chase within the third party risk field. And I've been doing that ever since.
That is fantastic. Now, I have a follow-up question because there's one thing that always intrigues me and our relationship with our parents. God bless them. They're always looking out for us. They always want the best for us. And sometimes they try to influence the direction of our lives, especially when it comes to career choice. Now, you did mention that your father is a nurse, and I want to dig into that a little bit because I think my younger sister also had similar challenges where parents are kind of nudging you in a particular direction. So how do you work with that? Like if there are other people who are listening, what advice would you give them to parents who potentially are trying to nudge you in a particular direction for your career?
Mm-hmm. Um, so I think one of the things that always motivates parents to push us into medical fields is because they know the stability in that field. There's always a job in that field. You can make an income, you can live for yourself. So I think the main way to really convince parents of that career path that you want to take that is different from that medical path is to just show them how that career path is growing, how you can make an income, how the stability of it. So once they understand that and they understand, okay, my child can actually make a living, so they're a little bit more open to, you being in that different career fields because they've been also told about medicine. And like I said, someone's always sick, so there's always a job there. They don't necessarily understand or know all the different career fields that are out there. They usually know medicine, doctor, lawyer. Now IT slowly getting there. So once you're able to really sit them down and show them this is the trajectory of this career, this is how much salary I can make, this is the stability, this is how I can further my career within this field, I think they're able to feel comfortable letting you pursue that because they know, okay, my child is going to be okay when they graduate from that field.
That's great advice. It's simple and short, folks. Just show them the money, and you'll be fine.
Motivator.
That's awesome. So, following up with your career, you mentioned that you went to school, Syracuse, and then you did some work as an intern with J.P. Morgan. What did you learn specifically at that internship that led you to believe that you could actually make it? Right, like going through an internship is also kind of daunting as well because you're new, you're learning so
Mhm.
much. So, at what point during your internship did you kind of, maybe have this aha moment? I think I can actually do this.
Um, I would say it's really based on who the company is and the mentors that you have during those internship. They definitely make a big difference. And also, we had a site manager on on the field who was associated with JP Morgan Chase, but he was in Syracuse. That's where he stayed. And I really liked how he related to us students, essentially letting us know, hey, this is a great opportunity and you can make it. So if you follow the instructions, if you make good use of it, you can make it. So I think, and then even when sometimes we're not doing well and sometimes our grade might fluctuate, he would sit there and tell us, you know what, hey, figure this out, you need to do better. So I think it really is who the mentor is and how they can pour into you. So it was him just letting me know, you've got this, you're doing a good job, continue doing it. You're slacking over here, pick it up. There's space for you to improve. So having that honest person to, pour into you was great. And then also the managers within that group that you're working with, again, them also having those one-on-ones with you. Hey, you're doing a good job. You've been doing a good job. I can see you in this field. So the aha moment I think really came where so the internship was about to be over, maybe a month or so. We're about to graduate, so we're all scared. I need to apply,
Yeah,
and some of our coworkers or the classmates, they've gotten their job already lined up. They're settled. There's some of us that were just like, oh my gosh, I'm still interviewing. So
yeah,
I was just sitting there, and they came and spoke to me, and they were just like, we like your work, we like everything that you've been doing, we would like to bring you on full time. And I think that's when I was just like, oh, I've been doing a good job because um, me personally, I tend to very much always evaluate myself, and I think I'm somewhat hard on myself, which is okay. Sometimes you need to be. So I hadn't heard back from them, and I'm like, I knew I did a good job, but I wasn't sure. Everybody, at the end of the day, it's an internship, it's a competition. There's only
right.
but a few spots that are available. So when I didn't hear, and I was just like, okay, they probably chose the first um, group of interns and everything. So when they had that conversation with me, that's when I was just like, okay, I can see myself doing this. I've been enjoying it. I've been getting positive feedback. And amongst all these others, they've decided, hey, we want to hire you full time.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned a really important point there about feedback because I think that, sometimes feedback is not pleasant to hear, right? Sometimes
Hmm.
it's necessary, but it's not always pleasant to hear. It won't always be that you're doing a good job. Sometimes, as you mentioned yourself, sometimes maybe you're slacking off and you need to kind of pull it together, rein it in. And I love how you were able to kind of take that feedback because I work with some people at times where feedback is brutally honest, and some
Hmm.
people don't take it too well, but the feedback is a gift, right? Feedback is a
Hmm.
gift that helps you to know where to focus and to become the best version of yourself. So that's a really really important point.
Yes. And
um yeah, go ahead.
I would like to point out that it's also how the person provides that feedback. Because sometimes if there's no, let me say, warmth in the feedback, there's no, you just take the negativity and you become a little bit more hardened to hear. So it's also how the person provides that feedback that also makes a big difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, let's jump into kind of the work you do at your current role at Jackson Lewis. So, third party risk analyst. Now, for some people, a lot of people might not have a clear understanding of what this role is and what you do. So, can you walk us through kind of your day to day, what your responsibilities are, and what you do as a third party risk analyst?
Yes. So one thing I will say about Jackson Lewis that makes it unique from working at the bank that I used to work was because Jackson Lewis is a law firm, we are also third parties to other law firms. So we are also the vendors, right? So I do things in twofold. So the first one is performing vendor review. We call it due diligence review on our third parties. So again, because as a law firm, we have a lot of sensitive information of other of our clients. We have sometimes social security numbers. We have sometimes people's bank account numbers. So many things. So they are classified as medium, high, or low, medium, or high. And so it's my job to make sure the companies that are getting those high datas and also medium risk datas, making sure that their environment, their policies, their procedures are up to par, are secure, so that when we give them the information that they're going to either process through their environment or store, especially if they're storing it, we want to make sure that what information you're storing, you have those safeguards to ensure that those information is safe. So if a hacker is coming in, you have um, things implemented so that nobody comes and steal it. And I will say my manager he's great at analogies. So he loves to always make an analogy like you have a house, you have a key, we lock the door, we lock the key. Okay, what happens to the key? Where is the key stored? um is the key stored in a safe place, or can anybody come and get it? If the key's underneath, somebody's the rock, then that means you don't have enough security, so I can't give you my sensitive information because anyone can come in and grab the key. But where are you storing the key? Wherever you're storing the key, is it in a, I think a lockbox with the realtor, right? So it's in a lockbox. There's a code. Who has that code? So then the security is getting better now, because not everyone can go underneath the rock. We have a lockbox. You need to have the passcode to get the key to get that. So it's my job. So in this way, it's my job to make sure you have all these. So if I'm asking you questions and I find out you only have a key under a rock, I'm less inclined to give you my information because you don't have the safeguards. But now you have a lockbox. Only a certain few people have those access key. And in order for somebody to get it, there's a process to do it. So my job is to make sure that these processes are in place so that when we do give you our information, we know that it's safe, there's a process to get it, and no one can easily get it. So that's how it is when I'm doing the due diligence. And likewise, again, because we are a law firm and we are clients, we are vendors to these clients, they also want to make sure that we're good. So they're going to then turn around and ask those questions. I'm the one that is answering those questions and also providing them our policies, our due diligence documentation to also ensure them that we also have the securities in place to protect your information.
Fascinating. That sounds like a really really interesting role, because I think the interaction that you have with, companies and vetting to make sure that they, like you said, have the policies and procedures in place is interesting. If tell me a story, tell me anything about work that maybe you loved the most, right? What gets you excited in the morning about going to Jackson Lewis?
Um, what gets me excited about work? I would say number one is the coworkers, the bosses. Sometimes the conversations. Um, I would say he's like very sarcastic and all these things. So we would have certain situations where he's just like really like the sarcasm is there. But also, just it's always good to have a conversation with some of these third parties, because especially the ones that are vetting my company. I enjoy
Mm,
that because I see different protocols and different ways of that they're doing it, that I can be like, let me take some of what they're doing and implemented it in our system, in our process. So it's always good to see, and then it's always interesting to see the different tools. So when I was in graduated in 2011, third party wasn't such a broad, such a big to do. And so
mhm.
we didn't have too many tools. I think if anybody is in third party, we know the holy grail is called Archer. That is the third party tool that everyone uses. But now there's so many of them that have been coming with so many different things that you can actually look at these third parties, and then also the use of AI. It's
Right.
interesting how people are starting to use AI even in third party and answering these questions in automation. So it makes it interesting just to see how it's evolved.
Nice, nice. Yeah, AI is definitely a fun topic of mine. I'm gonna have you back on the show again, and we're gonna talk just AI.
No, I'm telling you, ChatGPT has become my friend.
You're not the only one. I guarantee you that. Awesome. All right, let's pivot to CYP. Now, CYP is a fantastic organization. I've come to love it, even though I've never attended one in person. I did attend a session during the COVID period, and it was a really really delightful program that you and your team organized. You are the leader of CYP, so tell us, what is CYP? And yeah, let's start with that question first.
Definitely. So CYP is an acronym for Collegiate and Young Professionals. And so CYP just came about because we just needed a space for these collegiate and young professionals. So we have like within our NASDA, North American Ghanaian division group. So we had youth camp, which is great because then we're divided into different age groups, and each age group has, different programs for them. But there weren't anything for the collegiate aside from the spiritual teachings during youth camp. So CYP essentially was that area where professionals can also come together and network. And then it slowly evolved and developed into so much more. So the purpose of CYP is essentially to have a place for young professionals to network, collegiate and young professionals. And one thing I do love about CYP is that it combines both professionalism and spirituality together. So you're coming into a place where you're learning you're dealing with people from different professions, you're learning different professional tools, but also you're also getting that spiritual aspect of it as well. You're also engaging in scripture. You're also having those moments of prayer and praise. So you feel, I think it's like you get that complete wholeness by the end of CYP. You go away with so much that you've learned, so much that you've been able to acquire and network. It's just a great program just to get those two together.
Nice, nice, nice. So there is an annual conference for CYP coming up. What can we expect this year?
Um, so this year's theme is called Faith, Works, and Purpose, right? And so CYP, I believe, is broken into three things, right? There's again that we have the professionalism of it, which is for collegiates and the young professions. We have the spiritual, which is our devotions, our preaching, and then we also have the networking portion of it. So you're definitely going to expect all those three. But last year, we started like having a formal dinner, and it's a good way to kind of bring CYP to an end. All the things, all the tools that everyone has been learning, especially networking, is a perfect way to just bring that together. So we have a formal dinner, and we end it with some nice music and just a just for people to have fun. So we're bringing that back again. And one thing again that we definitely changed about CYP starting last year that has been benefiting us is that we added an extra day. So it allows us to have a full day of professional and um, collegiate programs. So people are able to not only network, we had a session where people that have their programs. They've started a business. They're able to showcase those. We also have, moments for the different professions that are there, just to have a conversation about and if you're interested in a different profession, might just want to change. You can go into that room, have that conversation, see how people within that profession operate. And then some people, you're in college. How do I start? What is going on in my different um, field, so you get to have that conversation again, meet with like-minded people. And then we have the networking session, which is relationship based. So we have one section for those that are single and single and seeking. I took that from one of the presenters. Those that are single yet seeking, so we have a program for them. And though we have also those that are single and are not seeking, and they love that, and that makes sense, especially when you're just going into college. Marriage is not on your list. So we have a program for those. And we also understand within our community that those that are already married. So we also have programs for those and how to improve in your marriage and just enjoy your marriage as well. So we make sure that we cover all bases for all groups as well.
I'm really impressed by the level of detail that you and your team have put into kind of making sure that you are inclusive for all people, and I think that that really matters. Just because, like you said, a lot of people are in different phases in their lives, and some are married, some are looking, some are not, and just to have that intentionality behind that is really good. And I'm super interested. I love networking with people. I love meeting new people, and so. Do you have any success stories, whether people meeting their future or meeting their partners at CYP? Has anything ever like that ever happened? Or maybe someone finding a
I
job at CYP?
So I might not say the names because I don't know if they want to be out there. But yes, we've had quite a number of people that have married from meeting on CYP. So
Nice.
I won't be surprised if we have a few CYP babies around. So yes, there's definitely been one. I do remember, I would say one of my church kids, she those first time coming to CYP, had no idea about it. And I was asking her, like, what did you think? And she was like, I enjoyed it because she was just now going into the nursing field and she was able to meet so many people that were nurses, and she spoke to a few of them, and they gave her a lot of feedback, a lot of advice, a lot of encouragement. And she was just saying that she's learned a lot about the field, what it entails. And I guess she had a little bit more confidence in going into that nursing field. But yes, I definitely a lot of success stories. A lot of people have come and said, hey, oh, I didn't know what this was about. I've enjoyed it. We during COVID we had CYP on Zoom, so a lot of
Yeah.
people came. And I remember someone did tell me they invited one of their friends that wasn't Adventist or even Ghanaian to come and join. And the friend was like, "Wow, you have such a program, and it should cost more money than what it is because I believe this one was even taxes, learning about taxes and filing taxes, and even if you have a business." And I think we did something about financial planning. So they were learning about those financial planning, and they were just like, "This is amazing! I learned so much about finances." And I believe in one program we just learned about credit cards because when you think about credit cards, everybody has such a negative connotations about credit cards. But we were able to show them you can positively use credit cards for your benefits, and people were able to learn so much about that. And like, oh, okay, I've learned a new way to utilize this that I have.
Yeah, I remember that credit card session myself. That was very, very useful information. Really, really great stuff to learn at CYP. So if you're listening to this podcast, I do highly encourage that you consider going. So, Juliana, give us the dates and the location of where it's happening this year, and maybe some of the other information of, like, if someone wants to find out more about CYP, where should they go?
Yes. So CYP, the day is so we always have CYP on Easter weekend. So whenever, even if you don't know the exact Easter, you just know that it's on Easter weekend. So this year is March 28th to the 31st. And this year we are going to Chicago, Illinois. So we will be in Chicago, Windy City, Chicago, March
That's right.
28th to the 31st. Like I said, we added the Thursday because most of the time we went to CYP from Friday to Sunday, but we realized that we did not have enough time to really have those collegiate and young professional programs. So Thursday, we start with Thursday evening, and Thursday evening is usually light. We have like a icebreaker session, which is again the first introduction to networking. And then we have a devotional, and we tend to end the night there. But then the next day is all about collegiate, all about professional programming. Saturday, it's Sabbath. Then we have the formal and the networking. And then Sunday is our consecration service for us to leave. So it's going to be in Chicago, Illinois. So all my people that are in Chicago or close by, definitely come. This is your time to come to CYP and really see what it's about.
Fantastic, fantastic. All right. Um, as a leader, what have you learned? What has leading CYP and organizing, bringing all of these people together, all of the events, all of the speakers, what have you learned personally from a leadership perspective?
Your the program can make or break based on who you have as the people that you have around you to help the program. And that's one thing I've learned. When you have people that are intentional, people that want to be there, and they're dedicated, you're able to produce such a great program. So it really one thing I've learned is the people that are around you, the people that are part of that program, they can make or break a program. So once you have dedicated, intentional people, your program will always run well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Juliana. Before we wrap up our talk today, is there one last thing you'd like to share with our listeners before we kind of wrap up? Anything you'd like to share with our listeners?
Um, I definitely wanted to say thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for also highlighting CYP. One thing I want to say about CYP is that registration for regular registration ends March 11th. So definitely make sure to register before then. We do have a website, cyp.nasda.org, where you're able to get all that information. We're also looking for people who wants to be a part of the planning committee. So if you feel like you have all the time, dedication, and talents, we're definitely interested in it because one again, part of leadership is the team that you have. It's because they bring so many different skill sets, and so many different ideas. So whatever skill set you have, we are definitely interested in seeing it, and we definitely want to hear your opinions on how to improve CYP. We're always looking for ways to improve it. We're also looking for ways to bring new things to CYP. So if you're interested, definitely go to the website or contact myself, and then we'll add you to the programming. But we are looking for new people to join as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being a guest on the Leaders Room, Juliana. Folks, that
Thank
brings
you.
us to the end of the our episode today of the Leaders Room. You've heard from yourself firsthand from Juliana Mends, and I hope she's inspired you. I hope she's given you a purpose and a direction that hopefully you can also follow. Stay tuned for more stories of leadership, empowerment, and making a difference. Until next time, keep leading, keep learning, and keep making a positive impact.